Good day, Chief here for CTT. As I mentioned, I'm at South Korea, 2nd Infantry Division. I'm not going to say it today. I also mentioned that I'm with Major General Honore now, and I mentioned that I have contractors that work for me via my last week with my captain. Well, it seems like all the contractors over there have Harley Davidson motorcycles. So one day I'm outside the tunnel and down near where I live, which is off of a main road, so to speak, where the general has to drive by. Well, two of my contractors are there with their motorcycle. Within 2 minutes, General Honore with his driver show up. And he gets out of his vehicle. I can't remember what kind of vehicle he had. And he had the old cigar in his mouth like he usually does. Oh, I was just kind of curious as to who was revving up their motorcycle, but it looks like some of my contractors are the ones that got the motorcycles. Because if not, I was going to yell at a soldier for having a motorcycle. Like I said, we're north of the Han. We're not supposed to own cars or motorcycles. What was really strange is up at Camp Casey, which is even further north, there was a car dealership and a Harley Davidson dealership. I guess to order vehicles to pick up stateside once your tour of duty, your 1 year was over with. So mentioning that, I get to go on a motorcycle run. It's like midsummer, and I've got a new boss. I've got the second major that I work for, who is a lot friendlier, a lot nicer, a lot more knowledgeable than the previous one, and understands the 1 year tour and all. So my contractor that works immediately for me, I actually owned the contractor. It was the first time, the only time in my career that I actually had a civilian who more or less had to report to me like a soldier. And I had to do evaluation reports on him once a month, but he said, don't worry about it. Your predecessor didn't do it for a whole year. So right after he told me that, it was like the first month I was there, within a couple weeks, he says, guess what? They're asking where all those evaluation reports are, so you got to start doing them on a monthly basis. And we just had a good laugh over that. So he said, what are you doing this weekend? Can't remember which weekend it was. I said, same as always, nothing. I mean, didn't own a car, and once you've been to Seoul a few times and purchase what you need to purchase, you really don't need to go down to Seoul. He says, well, how would you like to drive the truck? I go, for what? He says, well, we're doing a motorcycle run, and you'll be the chase vehicle. I said, who will be in the chase vehicle with me in case I get lost, because I don't speak the language. Oh, my wife will be with you, and then one of the other guys' wife. She doesn't like to ride on motorcycles either, so you'll have two of our wives with you, and they'll help you get out of any situation. Plus, they know where we're going. Sort of, they did. We didn't get lost, so went and talked to my major, and I said, my contractor said and invited me to drive the chase vehicle for his motorcycle run this weekend. He goes, great. I said, I would like to go. He says, he says, yeah, no problem. He says, just put in a leave form just in case you get delayed, that way you're covered. I go, okay, sir, no problem. Or it could have been a pass. I don't remember which. I just had to fill out some paperwork so I knew where the heck I was at. And this was the day, well, not the day, but we had cell phones, the basic cell phones, the first generation of cell phones. So when I first got over there, they said, Chief, you need to buy a cell phone. I go, for what? So we can call you on alerts. And how often those happen? Not a single alert happened the whole time I was there. I had a cell phone for about 3 months, I think it was, and I think I got 3 phone calls from people that I could not understand. And one of my soldiers lost his cell phone, or his cell phone got ripped off. So I gave him mine. I said, there's still minutes on it. Because I was just buying minutes for nothing, because I didn't call anybody, and nobody ever called me. And then they're like, well, Chief, you need a cell phone. I said, I've had a cell phone for 3 months, not a single alert yet. Plus, I live 100 feet from where I work. If you can't find me in my hooch, then better send out the rescue team because I'm lost. So I get to go on this motorcycle run, and I forgot to bring it up. I'll bring it up next week. Throughout my career, I collected rocks of my places that I went to. And also I got a brick, which has not brought me bad luck, surprising where it came from. But I have a brick from the Sarajevo Olympic site on top of the mountain where I was stationed at one time. Hasn't brought me any bad luck because there's horror stories up there. I'll talk about those in another video. So we go to the west coast of Korea, and that's what, the Yellow Sea? I do believe so. That's the Yellow Sea. I'll have to look. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. I'm a geography, well knowledgeable in my geography, and I think that's the Yellow Sea. So we went, but they more or less hung out, drank beer, got drunk, started campfires, barbecued. Barbecue was great because we also had homemade kimchi. Now, homemade kimchi is better than what you buy on the street or at the vendor or whatever you want to call them. Homemade is better. It's still, to me, it's still a little obnoxious, but it's better than what you can get off the street. So, of course, most of the contractors had Korean wives. And as a matter of fact, one guy just got married, I think, just before this run. So he had his new wife with him. And so we, like I said, we went to the West Coast, and the reason why I said the homemade kimchi was good, I went to the beach with most of the wives. I didn't hang around with them. I was just kicking up the sand, wading in the surf. I don't remember if the water was all that cold or not. Probably wasn't, but it was just nice to hear the ocean roar, even though this is a sea. Still the ocean roar. And they were looking for, was it crabs or crawdaddies or hermit crabs? I don't remember what they were looking for, but they were looking for fresh meat to put in the kimchi. I didn't know that at the time because they had their baskets and they were picking up stuff. I thought they were gathering seashells or stuff like that. Nope, they were picking up fresh meat to put into the kimchi that they were going to make for that day. Yes, they don't age all the kimchi all the time. I mean, the older it gets, the more rotten it gets, and the more disgusting it probably tastes. And like I said, the barbecue was good, and I didn't want to get drunk. I didn't want to get silly because I was by myself and I was going to drive the next day, and not that drinking would bother me, but I felt like out of place because every contractor had a wife, and when it got darker, you know, couples everywhere, and then, hi, it's me, the fifth wheel, the third wheel. So I kind of went to my room and went to sleep that night. Now, the room was interesting that they rented for us. It was like a bungalow building. You had a toilet. I don't remember if I had a shower in there or not. But that was about it, just the basic needs. And I looked in the room, and there's this big, looks like a huge pastry. It's a roll. It's a cloth roll. So I looked around, and I'm like, oh, I don't see a bed. Oh, that cloth roll is my bed. So I slept on the hard floor. I mean, there was a little bit of a mattress. There were plenty of blankets because we were near the coast and it did get chilly at night. And I think I had a few windows, but they were up high. So this place was basically built so people couldn't break in because the windows were up high instead of low, and then the door. So, you know, I don't remember how much it cost me to rent that room for the night, and then we took our time driving back the next day, and that was the motorcycle run. Wasn't long. I thought it'd be like a couple days, you know, we'd be sleeping there, but it was just like an overnighter. We started out early the one day, spent the night, and then started late, and then got back in and We had fun. I mean, Casey asked me. Casey was my contractor, and he says, "Did you have fun?" I said, "It was different." I said, "It was nice to see the countryside because I did get to see a lot of Korea." Now, my older brother served in Korea back in 1970, 71. Yeah, because I think he was still over there during my graduation. And he asked me, what did the hills look like? And I said, "Man," I said, "they were green." I said, "There, trees everywhere." Because he said when he was there serving there, because he was up on the up near the border, he was an MGM scout, and so he went on lots of patrols. But he said, "No, when I was in Korea," he said, those hills were still blasted." He said there was still blackened trees, no growth whatsoever. I said, "Well, it's trees galore now." And I said, even the DMZ is now a preserve. And he says, "What?" I said, "It's a preserve. It's like a 2-kilometer preserve because other than North Korea putting lots of landmines, which kills the local animals in there, it's a safe area for all these animals because nobody goes hunting, because if you cross that line, bullets will start flying." I think we had one flare-up while I was there. I never got to go up because every time that we wanted to go up as a group, because you had to go with the group, you couldn't go individually, something came up, so I never got to the DMZ, so I didn't get to see, per se, North Korean territory while I was there. So that's it. That's my wonderful bike run. It got me out of the barracks for a couple days. I got to drive a truck. My contractor had a Jeep Cherokee that I got to drive occasionally too, because I had to borrow that one time to go get a fellow warrant officer down in Seoul, check him out of the hospital, and get him back up there because the command said, "Well, we really don't have anything to go down and get him." So as soon as I heard that, and this poor guy didn't want to stay in the hospital over the weekend, so as soon as I heard that, I went and talked to Casey. I said, "I need to borrow your Jeep." And he goes, "For what?" I said, "I need to go get a soldier out of the hospital down in Seoul." Now, I had driven with Casey several times to Seoul. I knew how to get down there, but I didn't know how to get back on the same road to get out of there. So that was a trip in itself. Between the three of us, we figured out coming home. But some more stories of South Korea. I had fun my whole year there. Would I want to do 2? Probably not. I mean, 1 year was enough. The 1-year tour. It's like, yeah, we're still fighting that war. Because, I don't know if I pointed this out to you, Korean War has never ended. There is no official peace treaty signed. It's just an armistice. So that could blow up and everybody say, "Oh, we're going back to war." No, war's still going on. So, Chief out from South Korea. And remember, freedom's not free. Thank you.